Thank you, sir. This morning, the president marked the one-year anniversary of the Mueller investigation, saying it's disgusting, illegal, unwarranted, and a witch hunt. But his own FBI director yesterday said it's not a witch hunt. Does the president, why does the White House still believe it's a witch hunt? And why did he cancel his news conference this afternoon, which was originally set for 3 o'clock with the NATO Secretary General?
Different topics, but the president knows that there was no collusion in the campaign, and he has been quite clear about this. It's gone on for over a year. They found no evidence of collusion and still strongly believe that it's a witch hunt. I'm not sure how we could be any more clear, and certainly not sure how the president could be any more clear about his beliefs and his opinion.
As far as the witch hunt statement by the president, he's often, several times a day usually, calls it a witch hunt. His FBI director, the man he nominated, confirmed to be the FBI director, Christopher Wray, as recently as yesterday, told Congress during testimony this was not a witch hunt. So he's got a problem with his own FBI director.
Yeah, and Christopher Wray has done this several times and has said, no, this is legit, as he should, because he wants to stand up for his investigators. And it's not an illegal investigation to have the special counsel who's appointed rightly to do this. I think he conflates some of the bad behavior that has come out in IG reports from law enforcement with this and wants to turn the whole thing into like sort of fruit of the poison tree. But I don't think that's what's actually going on here. Another thing that is going on here is that he knows a news hook when he sees one. And at the one-year anniversary, he was ready to go with a barrage of tweets so that he could be part of that celebration of this birthday.
Let me read a little bit more of that tweet. And Michael, I'll get your reaction. Michael Zeldin is still with us as well. After he said this is the greatest witch hunt in American history, there is still no collusion, no obstruction. The only collusion was that done by Democrats who were unable to win an election despite the spending of far more money.
That's right. The difference between Christopher Wray, the FBI director, and Donald Trump is that Christopher Wray may have a window into the evidence that actually is being gathered. And so when he says it's not a witch hunt, he perhaps is saying that from an informed, factual predicate, whereas the president is just wishing it to be so. And we saw, Richard Nixon say at the one-year anniversary of Watergate that this was essentially a waste of everyone's time and a witch hunt and that it should just go away too. It didn't work out that well. 12 or 14 months later, he was no longer president. So I think we have to take the president's wishful thinking for what it is, and Christopher Wray's thinking for what it is, which is one is fact-based probably, and one is, aspirational.
Kim Whaley's with us, former assistant U.S. attorney. On the Robert Mueller team, there are prosecutors, there are Justice Department officials, but there's also a delegation, a whole group of FBI agents who were assigned there. Would they normally be updating the FBI director on what's going on?
Sure, and so that we have, as Michael mentioned, there's a lot of facts that we have no idea what they're about. But we don't need to know what's inside the FBI's coffers of confidential information. We know what's public. We have guilty pleas. We've got multiple indictments, guilty pleas from people close to the president. We have a federal judge this week denying Mr. Manafort's motion to dismiss the indictment and making very clear that this is a legitimate investigation as a matter of law and as a matter of fact. So witch hunt is just not. It's silly at this point. I mean, it's purely political. It's a distortion. We should just take that out of the conversation because we're well beyond that.
The president also tweeted this morning, and if we have it, I'll put it up on the screen. The president tweeted, wow, word seems to be coming out that the Obama FBI spied on the Trump campaign with an embedded informant. You want to react to that?
Well, we heard this previously when the president said, or the candidate then said, that he had been bugged by the Obama administration, which was proven to not be true. We'll see if this turns out to be a similar allegation that has no factual basis for it. I'd be stunned if there was a mole in the Trump organization that the FBI knowingly put there. What they define as an informant may well be just someone who was an FBI agent who had a political point of view that was different from their point of view, but doesn't prevent that person from doing their job as a law enforcement official.
Jeff Zeleny, our White House correspondent, is joining us. Jeff was over there in the briefing room. Jeff, what is the president referring to when he says the Obama FBI spied on the Trump campaign?
Well,
It's a good question, and we'll see if the president actually answers for that himself. He is in the Oval Office right now meeting with the NATO Secretary General, and Sarah Sanders said he will take some questions in there. So we'll see if he sort of sheds more light on that. But what it appears that he was talking about was a report by a conservative commentator, really, who was making this suggestion here. And Sarah Sanders, the White House press secretary, was asked this at the podium, to expound on it, or if the Trump campaign had a spy in their campaign. She did not really answer, Wolf. She said, if that did happen, it certainly should be looked into. But it's unclear exactly what the president is referring to specifically. We do not have any reason to believe that there's any basis to that specifically. But on to the witch hunt, I was trying to get Sarah Sanders to, expound a little bit more on the witch hunt. And again, she said, without any evidence at all, that there's no collusion here. There's no obstruction of justice. Of course, important to point out, every time the White House says that, Wolf, we don't know the answer to that question. That's what the investigation is indeed all about. It could turn out to be that way, but we don't, have an answer. That's what this Senate committee is also investigating.